understand what I know you're not agreeing with me, but do you understand the limit that I'm putting on?
I understand the court's position.
Okay.
So I think that that would apply on the first floor, 1201, which is, I don't know if you remember, but it's on the west side, and it's where a bunch of offices are. There's the interior office glass windows were broken by law enforcement. It's the concern of the defense, and perhaps the court will entertain a special instruction, that Mr. Cruz did not break all of those windows. That the Broward Sheriff's Office was responsible for that. So there are some windows inside of interior classrooms or offices that Mr. Cruz never entered, and he did not break that glass.
So you're saying the sheriff's office didn't know that whether or not there might be potential victims in certain rooms, and therefore, even though there was nobody in there and Mr. Cruz did not go into or attempt to go into those rooms, the glass was broken by BSO in an effort to rescue potential victims?
Yes.
And search for the assailant. I mean, he's responsible for every broken window in that building because it was because of his actions. Police had to go in and do their jobs. But we're not suggesting, first of all, it's a minimal interest to anybody considering what happened there of more significance. People were murdered. Broken windows seem to be small change that no one's really concerned with. The rooms that were not occupied, the jurors will recognize it immediately because they're in perfect condition. Every desk is in a proper order. It looks like an unoccupied room that people just looked in and left. So it's a very small significance to anybody, including a juror. But it does, you can tell by looking into it, and they'll be able to look through a window anyway into the room, whether the door is open or closed. There's still a window there that will be broken. So they can look into it and see that there's nothing, there's very little difference between opening those doors or leaving them closed. You can still look into the room. So they look into the room, they see it looks like it's in perfect condition, they'll realize immediately this was not a room that was involved. This is a minimal concern, should be a minimal concern to anybody. I don't even know why there would be an objection to it, because it's of no concern to anybody. No one's going to argue anything about that.
Well, I agree with Mr. Marcus on that point, so there's no need to keep the doors open then, because if the juror can just look through the window, which would be consistent with Mr. Cruz's perspective and perception at the time that he committed the crime. Also, Judge...
But I've been there, and you can't see the havoc that was caused inside those rooms by just looking through the window. In the rooms where people were killed and hurt, you have to walk in, sometimes around the corner, to be able to see what happened.
I understand that, Judge. I don't agree with you, but I understand why you would want the jurors to walk into that room. But if
but think that that is relevant and could assist them.
But for the rooms where there are no victims, the defense does not believe that the jury needs to go into those rooms. And I don't want to relitigate all of those pretrial motions.
I understand.
But one thing I do want to bring up is those classrooms are not in the same condition that they were in on February 14th. There have been things that have been removed, that have been altered and changed. There's also some very prejudicial stuff, and I understand that everything is prejudicial to the defense, but overly prejudicial in the sense that there are rooms where there are, which is one of the reasons why we asked for the crime scene to be sanitized. There's literally pictures of Mr. Feis in some of those classrooms. There are pictures of the graduating seniors, what would have been the graduating seniors. So that would be another reason why we wouldn't want anybody to go in the classrooms, because they've been changed and altered and there's prejudicial content. And I just would incorporate the previous argument.
You're saying since the date of the incident, they've hung up pictures of Coach Feis in the classrooms?
No, they were in there before.
Well, I mean...
And we believe that that type...
I didn't see that. Where is that?
It was all in our proffer, Judge. We took pictures of all the prejudicial information and provided that to you on a jump drive.
I remember that, but I did not
I mean,
recognize it on my own view yesterday.
Judge,
well, there's a lot.
This is the crime scene, this is the place he chose to commit these crimes. We don't have to hide what was going on. It's a school, it's going to have pictures of students, it's going to have pictures of teachers. That's what a school looks like. If this was a kindergarten, they'd probably have little toys in there. I mean, all of these things, that's what you get when you go into a school.
I understand that, and I'm not going to relitigate this. I've entered an order. I'm going to allow the jurors to go into the classrooms. However, the classrooms, like I said, that were not occupied, that they were closed for the day, or the teacher was absent, or there was just nothing going on in that particular classroom. If the only thing that happened was that BSO broke the window to see if somebody was injured or hurt inside, then those classrooms, I think, should remain closed, and they can...
I just want to ask for a clarification.
Sure.
Because there's not just classrooms. I'm not talking about the third floor, but on the second floor and the first floor, there's a teacher's area, lounge area, coffee machines, things like that on the first and second floor. Defendant didn't go into, Mr. Rospierski went into the second floor, 1 to 5.
Okay, so like the second floor one, in my opinion, wouldn't count as the one that should remain closed because something did happen there. He hid in that area to seek shelter from Mr. Cruz.
And there are also utility rooms, I'm not asking that they be open, it doesn't matter to us, it's of minimal significance.
Those are the ones with like the wires kind of?
Yeah, some people hid in those. I know at least one person who hid in there.
If there's been any testimony or evidence that mentioned a particular area, I think that area should be open for view by the jury. But if there's a particular area that is, for all intents and purposes, of no significance, in other words, and I'm not saying that, I mean, I understand the entire school is significant, but if there is a classroom that was closed and nobody sought shelter and there's nothing was testified to, there's no evidence about that particular classroom, I think the door should remain closed.
Okay.
Because I don't know how it would assist the jury in analyzing and understanding the evidence presented if there's been no mention of that particular room. And if you all could come up with a comprehensive list of what rooms those are, I would appreciate it.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I just want to clarify one more thing about this. So I don't know, as I'm sitting here, whether or not those doors lock.
Well,
and so someone could open them.
no, because they're not allowed to touch anything.
Okay.
And I'm telling them that. And the doors that are, the rooms that are accessible are going to have door stops where the doors are open. And they're going to be told not to touch anything in no uncertain terms.
So perhaps you could add in this that doors that are opened you may enter through.
Okay.
Those doors that are closed are not relevant to the case.
Okay. Does that satisfy the defense?
Maintaining our other objections and then advising the jurors that they don't have any obligation to go into any room if they choose not to.